boating and sailing is in the blood. Deep.
Non-professionally for a long time.
Yes. Okay.
My great-grandfather used to drive the ferry boat before the Sunshine Skyway was built.
Where did that idea come from? Was that like, okay, I'm buying this business, maybe I should be on social media? Were you kind of doing that before? Were you? I mean, that's just awesome to see you leverage that and for it to be working at a high level.
I said, don't you guys do VIP events? He's like, yeah, we'll have like 8 to 10 people on our bus. So why don't we do it on a boat?
Going again. Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to Talking St. Pete. I'm your host, Ryan Bogdan. Before we get into today's amazing guest, I want to let you know that this episode is sponsored by Bogdan Homes. So if you know anyone in the area looking to buy, sell, or invest here in the greater Tampa Bay area, find our contact information in the description below, as we believe that luxury is an experience, not a price point. And now on to our awesome guest. We have Captain Christian, the now owner of Pure Dolphin Cruises. He's a local native, 4th generation here in St. Pete, and he's doing some awesome stuff out there on the water, and also has nautical sounds, which I want to know all about that, because you're moving and shaking out there on the water, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, super excited. So glad that we got to connect and have you out here, and you're fitting the part today. You're going out in the water today, right?
Yeah. Yep. We're going out at 3 o'clock. We have tours. This is a little bit slower time of year. Yeah, the tourists are gone.
Yeah.
So we typically have 1 tour a day, Monday through Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And then Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays, we also have a sunset tour.
Oh, nice.
Well, Mondays is our service industry cruise. So I bought this business 3 years ago, and I have a partner, John LaBuddy, Johnny Reno LaBuddy.
Yep.
More people know him than anybody else in St. Pete, right?
Yep.
And no other industry had been more decimated during COVID than the service industry.
This is true.
And yes, I did buy a tourism boat during COVID, just to be clear.
But people were coming here.
People were coming.
Yeah.
And so we thought of a way to give back would be let the service industry have free booze and free cruise on Monday nights. And, they're going to kindly tip just enough so that I was just looking to pay for maybe, the free drinks.
Yeah.
And it's 3 years later, we're still doing it.
That's awesome.
People were finding jobs from it. And
connecting. It's a whole networking thing.
Yeah, they started connecting, and people come on the boat and say, hey, I heard from so-and-so at Oak and Stone or Bella Brava about your cruise. And, you feed in, and then you feed in without necessarily counting on getting back.
Yeah.
But that's the St. Pete way. St. Petians love to help out other St. Petians.
St. Petians. That is the first time anyone's used that.
You never heard that?
Not on the show. Not on the show. No one has used that. That's a 4th generation native right there to say St. Petians.
So my son's just the 5th generation to graduate from St. Pete High.
Wow.
So
you guys are ingrained.
Yep.
That's why I was really excited. I mean, I'm excited for multiple reasons I have you on, but one, the show brings locals to the show when most of people that I know outside of this are not from St. Pete.
Yeah.
You've watched it change so many times over. And now we're in this new era of St. Pete where it's hip, it's vibey, it's cool, and everyone's coming.
Everybody wants to be here.
Yeah, which I guess that's why you would buy a tourism boat. Right?
We went from God's waiting room to the best place to live in the United States in probably, 15 years?
That's how crazy is that?
Yeah,
what is that like being like to watch that happen? Did you know that was happening as it was happening, or is it just like now you realize, oh, it's like, when did that transition happen in your mind to like, okay, I live at God's waiting room, which if you need to figure out, I mean, come on, it's obvious. To now it's a hot spot on the map.
So when I went to school in Virginia because I needed to know what a leaf, when it changed, what it looked like.
Fair.
So I went up to Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia. And but when I moved home, it was 98. And I lived in an efficiency above Bruce Waters Jewelers.
Okay.
Where Stillwaters is now.
Yeah.
And that's when Baywalk was built. And I could just see it out my window. I could start to see this like resurgence of younger people. And then you see, one bar pop up, and then a few restaurants pop up, and then it just kind of exploded like around 2000 to 2005. I saw that first initial change. And
so you're going back even further, because most people I talk to say it's happened in the last 5 to 7 years.
That's
that's the second level. That's a second wave. Yeah.
It's a second wave. Yeah, it's been huge. So then you had all these breweries come to town and all the art that we have. And I think COVID it was popping. And then COVID sat on it for about 6 months, and then it's bananas. And it's a great city, and I don't deal with traffic, right? Unless I have to go to Tampa.
Yeah, well, we don't talk about Tampa. No, but it's true.
Yeah.
If you got to go across the bridge, then yeah.
But so in 2000, that's kind of when I began my professional career. I moved from school. I was working at the Big Catch, which was an old St. Pete legend bar where the Hampton Inn is now, and I was teaching sailing at the Sailing Center.
Okay, so boating's in the history.
Yep.
Okay.
So I grew up here sailing, and then went to college for sailing. But come to find out, and I didn't know this until about 7 or 8 years ago. My great grandfather used to drive the ferry boat before the Sunshine Skyway was built.
Wow, how cool!
It's wild. And then I have a story of his like buying lands like in the Bradenton area and being like mounds of oysters from the Indians that were left. It's pretty wild stuff. Like when we were bare landscape.
Yeah.
And then my great grandmother graduated from St. Pete High in 1912, and she had a florist shop on the end of Central, which was like 12th Street. And it's been wild. So my parents bought a business in the marina in 1978, St. Pete Yacht Charters and Sales.
Okay.
And if you know the end of Demon's Landing, there's that little island.
Yep.
The Demon's Landing, there's that building out there. So they leased that from the city from 1981 to 2010.
Wow.
So they had a marina hardware supply. They had, they would pull boats up out of the water and work on them. He had a mobile marine unit, yacht salesman offices out there.
Yeah. So boating and sailing is in the blood.
Non-professionally for a long time.
Yes. Okay. But then you went to school for sailing.
Yep.
And my brain goes, what do you learn? Like what does that entail?
It's a different description. So at Old Dominion, sailing was a varsity sport. So we had tutoring, classes, academic advisor. So we sailed in college as a varsity sport, and we were like the Alabama of sailing. A lot of people want to hear Florida State. We'll say Florida State.
Florida State of sailing.
Yeah, and won a few national championships there. But that was all. I never boated professionally, and my dad always said, "Don't do what I do, son. Don't be in the service and the tourism industry. Go get yourself a corporate job. You'll have your weekends off. You'll have a lot of fun, And so I did, and I was in skincare and beauty sales and medical, plastic surgery, dermatology sales for about 20 years.
Wow.
And then COVID came, and I thought, I don't want to go back to that.
Right.
It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't.
Didn't fulfill you.
Yeah, it didn't fulfill me. And we were sitting in my parents' office on Beach Drive. They now have an office where I used to have an efficiency when I was young and single and St. Pete was blowing up.
Yep.
And I said, maybe I should just sell boats and take over your business. Right. And my dad laughed. He's like, it's going to take you a while to learn this. You can't just do it. And then my mom said, Captain Fred's selling the dolphin business. I was like, are you kidding me? The dolphin boat that goes all around Coffee Pot and Snell Isle? She said, yeah, and your dad's the yacht broker. So we went and got on it, and we took a ride, and I was sitting in the middle of Coffee Pot Harbor. Well, when I was 15, I ran into a dock in Coffee Pot Harbor and shattered my femur and hip.
On a boat?
I was on a hydroslide.
Okay. I was going to say.
So we're going around Coffee Pot Harbor on a hydroslide, ran into a dock, and just completely shattered my hip. And now I'm sitting thinking about buying a tour boat.
Right there.
And
how ironic.
It just made sense. And they had small business associates. They had great SBA programs at the time. And I looked at all my finances, and then I went to John and I said, Reno, this is an opportunity. He's like, listen, whatever you need, let me know. Let's sit down and talk about it. And then September 25th, 2020, we closed on the business. And
how cool.
The rest is history. We had two of the busiest years.
Back to back. Talk about timing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All in timing.
Yeah, and so now you have this awesome. You got this shirt here, which you're selling, Captain Christian's Nautical Sounds. Tell me about that.
Well, so I bought the business.
Yeah.
And did some social media stuff. I get a call, and it's from Blippi. So Blippi is like the modern day Pee Wee Herman, and he's the fourth largest earner on YouTube, and he does like kids, like he'll go to different things around the country where kids will go and play. Like, he did Great Explorations while he was here. He did my boat while I was here, and that has about 1.5 million views. That episode.
Wow, how cool
with
is
me
that?
on it. So I kind of was like, oh, I get this quiet little life. I'll go see dolphins. I'll be home with the kids. I'll take tourists around. I'll just drive the boat, nice, quiet, low key. And then that happened, and it kind of took it to a little bit higher level. And then I get a call one day in October of 2021. And it was right after we had that Reggae Rise Up, the fall Reggae Rise Up here.
Yep.
Because COVID canceled the one
Yep,
in
I
March.
was at that one.
Yep. Great energy.
Yeah.
Everybody's really excited.
Excited to be back, yeah.
So about 2 weeks after that, I get a call, and this guy named Greg, he's the lead singer of Cashed Out. They just got done playing Reggae Rise Up. And he said, hey, man, a buddy of mine, Devin, that we have common friends, gave me your number and said you bought a business. Maybe you want to promote it when we headline Janice Live. And I thought, is that really my market? Is it? I said, don't you guys do VIP events? He's like, yeah, we'll have like 8 to 10 people on our bus. I said, why don't we do it on a boat? And he's like, let me talk to the band. So he calls back. He says, let's do it. So it was Black Friday of 2021, and 30 people showed up. The boat's a flat bottom or flat deck boat.
Yep.
Catamaran. So it's real stable. And
How many?
You could fit 49 people on it.
Got it.
So we had 30 people plus the band, plus of course some of my friends wanted to come.
Right.
And I posted some videos from that, and I started getting all these likes, and then other managers and bands contacted me, said, hey, we're doing a concert here. Can we do it on your boat? Well, one of them was Article Sound System, and they had a Welcome to Florida tour. They're a Florida-based band, and that was this July. That was the second band I'd had on. And now we've had 13 bands.
Wow.
And it's great. It's all about fans and bands.
Fans and bands.
Fans and bands. But it got so popular that it was kind of clouding my marketing for dolphin tours. So somebody from Green Bay would call and be like, hey, you guys are the premier dolphin tour, but what's this? Like, are there bands on there? Is it a party boat?
Right.
Can I bring my kids? So I came up with Nautical Sounds as a way to
Distinguish
them. And then I designed the guitar anchor and
cool.
The picks and the guitar neck. And the LWS stands for my kids' names, Lydia, Wesley, Skylar. But the Captain Christian and the Coral Shorts thing got so big that I was like, maybe I should put Captain Christians on it because a lot of people know me.
Right. You're part of the brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's it.
It's awesome, and you're leveraging social media just as we are right now with this podcast. And where did that where did that idea come from? Was that like, okay, I'm buying this business, maybe I should be on social media? Were you kind of doing that before? Were you? That's just awesome to see you leverage that and for it to be working at a high level.
So one of the companies I worked for was L'Oreal.
Okay.
And now L'Oreal USA owns like 50 different companies, but they're a marketing machine. So I learned a lot about the social media aspect from early on, like 2012, 13, 14, when it was starting to build. I remember it was just Facebook, and then Instagram came on. And so they had a lot of tools and research that they would present us on like how to post and what the perfect post is. And I was, was like, I'm going to take this from the charge.
Got it. So you were kind of were learning about these things for a few years, and then you got this opportunity to leverage it for your own business.
In the way I wanted to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're doing it smart with the consistent branding and everything like that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's not easy.
No, it's trust us. We get it. Well, Dom gets it. She does all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so, and one of the things is like social media. I'll wake up when I was in skincare, and then you'll see all these other reps post that they got, right? You'll see the realtors, oh, I just sold this and I just sold that. So I really had to remove myself from measuring, right? You get up, you look at social media, you measure, you're like, oh my gosh, this realtor just sold 3 houses. What am I doing?
Yep.
I sold 5, but I'm not going to brag about it, right?
Yep.
But you have to kind of remove yourself from that aspect and just focus on what message that you want to deliver.
That's authentic to you. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing cool thing with whether it's the Dolphin Cruises and Nautical Sound. I mean, those are now almost, they are two separate things, but
Yeah.
still you're finding a way to service two different pots of people and leverage social media to do it, which is really, really cool. Which
It's
is
fun.
Yeah. So what are some challenges that you've run into, when you bought the business that you didn't expect, being a captain of a tourism boat and now having Nautical Sounds?
So finding the right price point is a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Running a business is small business so easy, right?
Yeah. No. It's like having an infant.
So I went from corporate, like they wanted us to just go. Get out, sell, get out, sell, get out, sell. And then you go into things. And then you get into, you have to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And time management is something I definitely have to focus on that. I'm like, let's go, like throw ideas out.
Well, you're owner and operator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I operate the boat 5, sometimes 6 days a week. I love it. It's fun. But my tours typically don't start, even during season, they'll start at about 11 a.m. and then run through past sunset. So I have to find that morning time to do everything. Because once I get on the boat, I can't do anything.
Right. Yeah,
Like
you're locked in.
You're locked in. You're driving the boat. You're keeping people safe. And the first 2 years were kind of easy. Like people just showed up.
Right. You didn't have to do anything.
The phone was ringing. I was turning people away. We were selling out. And then 2022 was like that. And this year has been more of a challenge. I mean, we're down probably 30% in passengers. So how are you going to make that up, keep going? And so that's been challenging.
Yeah.
And then the third challenge, it's a boat.
It's a boat. Needs maintenance.
It ain't cheap.
Right. Yeah.
It is not cheap.
What's the acronym for boat? There's a couple of different ones. Right?
Bring another 1,000.
Yeah, that's it.
But if it's commercial, it's another 10,000.
Yeah.
My transmission, so I have 2 Detroit diesel engines. They run like tanks, like go, 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 go. One of the transmission blew in the middle of May.
Oh,
We were down from May 16th to June 22nd. So you're spending that money
Yep.
and you're not taking anything in.
No, because you're down.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
So some of those challenges, people think, oh man, you're on a boat and you got orange shorts and a captain's shirt.
No.
You're having so much fun. You're like, I'm glad I present that way, and it is. But the reality is there's also a business to run.
Yep.
There's employees and single dad. So
Yep.
I've got that aspect as well.
Yeah. So I get the small business thing and doing everything and wearing 5 different hats and having to get all that. So, but it seems, surface level is one thing, right? And what's happening underneath is another. So the dolphin, how do you find the dolphins?
So
you have the spots? Are they just always there? Like, what is it?
So everybody asks me that.
Yeah.
All the local boaters are like, I know you're feeding the dolphins, which you can't. That's a huge fine.
Yeah.
You can get jail time. And I've never been in jail, so if I went in there and was like, yeah, I fed dolphins, I don't think it would be very fun.
I don't think that would go over well, yeah.
But the first thing I said to Captain Fred, he's a 78-year-old Alabama guy. He's been here for 30 years. I said, man, we get some quieter engines. He goes, dolphins won't know who you are. So dolphins have this, they're very attuned to pattern recognition. So the engines are like, and there's no other engines like that on the bay running trips. And I tell my friends, I said, why don't you go 10 miles an hour in your boat for 2 hours around Snell Isle and Coffee Pot in the bay? You'll find a bunch of dolphins. They're like, no, I'm not doing that. But I'll see a pot of dolphins. We'll go up, stay 15, 20 yards away, put it in neutral, and they'll swim right up to the boat to say hi.
Wow.
And I don't know if you know this, but dolphins have they have a fingerprint. It's their dorsal fin.
Okay.
So we've named like 10 or 15 dolphins.
Because you can recognize them.
The one by Straub Park, or not Straub Park, Vinoy Park.
Yeah.
Everybody always posts, they see the dolphin. His name's Whitehead. He's an older male dolphin, and he's got 3 white dots on top of his dorsal fin. And I know he's older because he's very patterned. Like he goes there every day, and that's his hangout. And then his size, so he's a male. Yeah. And then we have Notch, Chip, Strap, Verta, Irene. Sven goes goes to the right, and Eileen's fin goes to the left. I mean, it's wild. And then when like Ian came in, right, and all the water came out of the bay, same dolphins back in.
Wow.
When we had the red tide in 21, all the same dolphins came back.
Wow. So that's their spot.
Yep.
So you know where they're hanging out.
And they're all throughout Snell Isle, and they're all throughout the bay. But yeah, I mean, they come up to the boat, people clap, and they jump and hang out, and it's just a very identifiable boat for them.
Yeah.
And
so if you were to change boats or engines, your game would be you can't. It's like it's like the secret recipe.
It is.
It's the sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when Fred bought this boat, Captain Fred, it had outdrives in it, and he put the diesels in there on purpose, one for the sound, but it pushes water to the side of the boat, so the dolphins swim right next to the boat. They surf
like that, and they like that.
Right next. So if you look at the social media, you'll see there's dolphins swimming. Most tour boats, they have that big water in the wake in the back. They have to jump out for you to see them. They're just right along the side. And when people start clapping and screaming, they just turn up and look at you. It's insane. And it never gets old.
Yeah,
I mean, you 3-4 times a day.
That is cool.
Like dolphins and a good joke never get old. You know?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. What a neat experience that you get to do at weekly. And it's new every time, not only for you, but then because you have new people experiencing it.
Yeah. And that aspect I love. You know, when I was in medical sales, you see the same people, same clients every day. And this is more like real estate, right? It's different clients. Now, obviously, you guys are building books of businesses where they keep coming back, but it's so much fun. And, you know, there's times we have trouble finding a dolphin. And if there's kids on the boat, I will not go in. I will not go in if I'll wait. I'll make the other tour a little bit late.
Got it.
Until we find dolphins.
Got it.
Because it's, you know, we had a tour on one time, and the water splashed on these people from like Nebraska, and they're like, the water tastes funny. They'd never had salt water.
Oh, it was that.
They'd never been around salt water.
Wow. Right. So it's that much of an experience, from the air that they're smelling, the water, the whole experience, even just being on a boat for some people.
The mansions.
Yeah.
All of it.
Right.
The history. We do history as well.
Got it. Yeah. That is an experience. We got to get out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got to get out there and come check it out. So what's the next thing? What's the next move for you? I mean, is it growing nautical sounds? Is it like where do you have more fun?
So I've had to like slow my right. So when I was in corporate sales, it was go, go, go. When you own a small business, it's go, go, stop. So you got to stop and figure things out. And I think what I've gotten over is what's next.
Okay.
Right. So I'm very happy, at peace with a dolphin boat, and at peace with what I'm doing. And I did buy a center console, like a fancy 30-foot center console, and I thought I could charter that out to the younger party crowd, and it didn't pan out. So I think one of what I'm learning, like currently, is where is your niche that you can stay in and grow in without having your entrepreneurial mind being like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. And with Nautical Sounds, it's on the same boat. So there's no investment for me, really.
Right.
I bought a PA system that the bands can plug into, but it's what can I do on that boat? And any expansion or what's next would be locals. I don't have a lot of locals on the boat, except for private charters. Working on doing a yappy hour.
Oh.
So because the dogs and the dolphins interact like crazy, right? You see it on the seawalls.
That's true. Didn't think of that.
So that's something we're working on is
Yeah.
yappy hours. Not just headlining bands, but having some local bands that for Nautical Sounds that if I can help elevate their careers and put them on the YouTube platform, that's the same platform that these national headliners like Pepper, the Elevators, or Ballyhoo are on, and I can help bring them up as well.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. And then my brain starts going, okay, what can we do to? I mean, we're doing it right now to bring more awareness to those that live here.
Yeah.
And ways to get out on the boat. And I think even better, we love live music. We love the water. Love a good sunset. You put all that together. I mean, that's an evening right there.
And cold drinks.
Cold drinks. Who doesn't like cold drinks?
The high noons sell pretty well.
Yeah.
So I have high noons, champagne, rosé, all of that. And you know, your basic, the locals that come on the boat, they have friends in town.
Yeah.
And they'll repeat, and they'll so we're going to work on like a 5 for a hat. Like you bring 5 people, you get a hat, Pure Dolphin Cruise hat or a shirt or something like that. Because that's important to me, that repeat customers, that's a huge honor for them to come bring people from out of town. You have people from out of town. You want to impress them. You want to show them the best, best restaurants, the best scenery, the best sunset. And for them to come on my boat, that's the payoff.
Yeah.
Right there.
That's true. Because and living here, people are always coming to visit, and you do run into, okay, what do we do? So-and-so's coming to town this weekend. What do we do? And it's a conversation I have with my family. My sister and brother-in-law and his brother live here. And when family comes down or friends, it's okay, what are we doing?
Because we got so much to offer.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're only here for a certain amount of time. What's the best thing to do? And my thing is, I'm always trying, not even from a real estate perspective, but just because I live here, I want all my favorite people to live here.
Yeah.
So I'm always working, okay, I got to sell St. Pete. Let's get them to move here. What can we do? Let's have some fun.
Yeah, St. Pete's changing daily.
It really is. It really is. How do you feel about that? Where's your perspective on that? Since you've watched so much change and looking at the direction that we're going, I'm always curious on people's thoughts.
I do rent from the city for my for my marina spot.
Yeah.
I think that, and that's one thing, they're looking at the marina being, torn down and rebuilt, which it needs. I feel like if we can keep that culture, and we have been, I always say, like the Ruth Chris in St. Pete, you can walk in the happy hour with a nice shirt, nice shorts, and flip-flops. You can't do that in the Ruth Chris in Tampa.
Nope.
And I think and everybody's very nice, very helping, and we have such a conglomerate of people that have just recently moved that they're really helpful to other people that moved to town. I like the direction it's going in. I do think that if they keep the development to downtown and we keep building infrastructure, that it'll all work out. But we're not Fort Lauderdale.
Mm-mm.
And most of us don't want to be Fort Lauderdale. But I think the city, I used to say that, the city's a franchise McDonald's. You can be a mayor, politician in the city. You can say, oh, it grew up when I was here. But now we're at a point where we really need some really good leadership and development. But I think it's got to come from within the city, like going to city council saying, hey, these are my concerns.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think enough people do that. But I like it. I like the direction it's going in. I do have concerns for people that work for me or people that work in the service industry, which I'm closely connected to as far as rental prices and cost of living.
Yeah, it is getting it's supply and demand, right? It's basic economics. You can't. It's not anything that's such a complicated, complex topic.
Yeah, because you own your land, you should be able to sell it
for what you want, right?
For whatever you want.
And basic supply and demand. Low supply, high demand. What does that do to prices? It makes them go up, right? So it's and the more we become on the map, right? I think we still are kind of a secret.
Yeah.
From across the country, people know Tampa. You say St. Pete, and they go St. Pete's. You right away. That's anyone listening and you're not from here. You come here and you come and say St. Pete's, we're gonna know right away that you don't live here. It's not St. Pete's Beach.
No.
How many times do you hear that?
St. Pete's Beach.
Yeah. St. Pete's Beach.
I get a lot of people that come sunburnt with their surf style.
Yeah.
There's that one store on St. Pete Beach, and they just get hammered with sun.
Yep.
And the fluorescent clothes, and they come on, and I'm like, I love it. Local business.
Yep. Sticking out like a sore thumb. Yeah.
And that's one thing I think that's important, like frescoes.
Mm-hmm.
Doc Ford's I consider locally owned because they're Florida based, but most of our restaurants are still locally owned and operated, and we're not. A huge franchise.
I talk about that
downtown.
often on here, but that's because there's not many franchises or big corporations here. We keep that local feel.
Yeah.
And there is no other frescoes, right? That you can, it's like that. And that, there's everything up and down Central for the most part is its own vibe.
Yeah.
And so when you come here, he's like, okay, well, what's this spot over here? What's this? What's that? Which keeps it cool.
It went from like my parents going to Pepin on 4th Street every Friday night to now we can't even decide where we're going to go eat. There's so many options.
Yeah.
I still do my Bella Brava
Yep.
You know, the Yacht Club, Fresco's, Doc Ford's.
Those are your go-tos?
Those are my go-tos.
It's your birthday. Where are we going? We're staying in St. Pete. It's your birthday. Where are we going?
I would say the macadamia nut crusted grouper and an orange mule from Doc Ford's.
Oh, nice.
Dude, that dish is insane.
I haven't had that, but I already had lunch before coming on because it keep my brain working. But now I'm hungry again.
Dude, that's the ticket.
Yeah, Dom, cancel the rest of the meetings. We're going
Yeah.
to Doc Ford's.
Yeah, that is. And then Fresco's has these St. People. That's really good. They have a few bowls. Obviously, I work right there.
Right,
and-
so you know that's your vibe right there.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that. What do you think St. Pete's missing?
Man, what a question, huh?
Tough one, right?
I think that when I'm doing my tours, the only thing that, like when I'm talking about tourist about stuff, that makes me a little anxious is the net at the pier. And then we've put a lot of artwork that's not from local artists.
Mm.
I think what's missing is we need to have our local, like we've done really well with the murals and those, but the big wheel thing on Central,
Yeah, what is that?
it's not local.
Yeah.
And the net, we could have, not that the
Do you know
net's
what
bad.
people I have, at least in my friend group, that thing you're talking at the roundabout?
Yeah,
Yeah, what?
it's not a local.
Some of my friends call that the St. Pete butthole.
We're going there, huh? Right.
It's just true. Hey, it's just I don't know. Anyone else? Put in the comments below. I don't know. That's what within my
I like that.
within my core group.
Well,
that's
I've
how
heard that the net by the pier
Yeah,
is granny panties.
granny
That's
panties.
what somebody on the boat was like. Are those granny panties?
Oh, I never thought of that, but now I'm not going to.
Which actually leads me to answer your question directly. At the pier, when the summer storms come in and the rain comes in or anything, there's nowhere for those people to go. They get in their cars and they leave. So the pier does need some sort of covered area, shade, but also coverage from the storms. But other than that, I can't really pinpoint something that is missing.
It's a tough question.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone kind of gets a different vibe from
Yeah.
that, But I'd like to just think on that as we continue to expand and grow, and maybe someone's listening that can make a
Yeah.
change on something, right?
Exactly.
When you said the rain coming, my first thought, well, we got so many museums, and I still need to go to so many of them.
You haven't been in many of them?
Just really the Dali, to be honest.
I love that museum.
Yeah, it's
I'm not a
awesome.
museum guy. I
Yeah.
love that museum.
It's tough here because the weather's always so good. So like, to find a day where you're like, oh, let's go do a museum.
Well, you don't have kids.
No, true.
August. That's when we go to the museums.
True,
with young
true. When it's
kids.
super hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. But no, need to go to more. I'm intrigued. In the
Yeah.
right mood, I'm interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Dolly's amazing.
Yeah,
And they bring in such good stuff. It never gets old.
yeah.
you know?
No, the artist community here in general is just awesome.
It's insane.
Yeah, yeah. So when you're not on the boat, which I'm sure, I know it's not that often, but what else
Yeah.
do you like to do around town?
So I like to go on another boat
Oh.
when I'm not working.
Yeah.
I love being on the water. So I do. Like I'll go out with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go out in my own boat, but not working on.
Here's a good question. What's the best time of year for you? Like, when do you enjoy like environment, the weather, conditions? Like, set the perfect scene for me out on the water for you.
Right about now, right when the weather cools off a little bit. But I like hot tub water. So when the water temperature goes below 80, I'm not getting in it. I'll go fishing. But so my busy season on the dolphin tours is the Friday before Valentine's Day,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll kick up a notch, and then March, April, May, June, July is
Busy.
like the time. It's the time. And then the second week of August or first week of August, depending when the Cougs go back to school, is when it drops. And that's when I just kind of am able to decompress. And it's nice to usually like a scalping trip or to get out of town in August. This year, my son and I, he graduated high school. His trip was
Nice.
we went to Red Rocks
Oh, cool.
backstage.
Nice.
He and I had never been. And then we went fly fishing.
Uh,
So it was just, I like to change up the climate.
Yep.
In the fall, take a trip.
I always
Yeah,
say it's balance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm all about the beaches, but then there's something about the mountains.
Yeah,
Something about those mountains. And Red Rocks is beautiful.
it was it was beautiful. I'd never been.
Yeah.
And kind of like St. Pete, I like to look at the historic photos. Like when Vinoy was the only building over a tree line. And so the look at those photos of the early Red Rocks was phenomenal.
I don't think I got to see those. I was there once for a Revolution concert. Full moon. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are backstage. I mean, you know.
Yeah. Captain Christian out here.
No,
Yeah.
It was a great experience to share with my son.
I bet.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Those memories you can't replace them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got a 20-year-old daughter, an 18-year-old son, and then I got an 8-year-old daughter. So really just sometimes the 8-year-old will be like, Dad, can we just not do anything today? Like, can we just sit around the house? I'm like, great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then sometimes, we're go.
Yeah, right.
But this time of year is when there's so much stuff going around St. Pete.
Yeah.
It's hard to get to all of it.
It is. It's tough. I mean, between running a business and personal life, taking care of the kids, I mean, you're back, coming on podcast, doing everything, doing social media.
Yeah.
Yeah. What so that I didn't get to ask this, I meant to. So Blippi, so that puts you on the map in terms of 1.5 million views on that thing, and that's how the band's found you. I meant to ask.
No,
that earlier.
okay, so that was just
because
kind
like
of
you went there, and then there was like a
it's
different.
kind of a like I was trying to segue from being this just quiet local,
Yep.
Captain that drives people around to see dolphins to the Blippi.
That put you on social media.
Yeah, that kind of elevated a lot. And then this whole band thing. And I haven't had anybody on yet that's not, like SoCal or what they call white boy reggae.
Yeah.
But there's some other bands that we have that whole concert series coming that Rise Up, St. Pete's doing. The Revitalists are coming. Ludacris is coming. So who knows if I would be able to do that and get them on the boat.
Yeah,
but that's kind of like the mission. But it's nice to not have to have that. Yeah. So if they're like, oh, we can't make it, I'm like, all right,
whatever.
Let's do dolphin tours that day.
Right. Yeah, that's a great place to be.
But that's kind of, it was just that kind of propelled everything. And then of course I have a flag with Blippi on it.
Nice.
With a orange, blue, and white dolphin.
Right.
So that all the kids walk by and they're like, huh?
Right. Yes, you're sticking out. You're sticking out. You're
trying.
You're doing. I mean, marketing is well.
I'm trying, man.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to stick.
No, you don't.
Like with you guys have to be incredibly original and consistent.
Yep.
Like when you're going to put something on social media, what's your thought process?
Well, I'm always thinking, what are we looking to do is grab people's attention. What's going to get attention? And, whether it's from the podcasts, to point it, we don't know what's going to stick. Our most popular video is a reel to where we talked about the 600 murals that are in St. Pete.
Yeah.
And that thing it took off. But who knows? Like, we post content every day. You don't know what's going to take off. And then from a real estate perspective, I mean, my line is I always open up with, hello, all you beautiful people. So then the other tagline there. And if I'm doing property tours, my signature move, people are like starting to catch on as I jump on the bed. Like everyone, like it gets that spot. Like
there you go.
I don't care whose bed it is.
You're the bed jumper.
I'm the bed jumper. We're jumping on that, and we just keep it like people's attention spans are getting so small.
Yeah.
And so how can we get our message across as quickly as possible, as fun as possible, and keep them engaged to watch the whole thing? And so even with this show, the chances of people coming to watch the whole thing we know are slim. But can we take the best parts and clip that out and get your attention? That's really the strategy.
Yep. And being yourself.
Yeah, exactly. How can you stick out in the sea of sameness is a line that I heard from a marketer, right?
Yeah.
In the sea of sameness, how can you distinguish yourself? And that's having a personality, not being so rigid and robotic.
Like just do one take.
Yeah.
Just all my videos you'll see they're 90% of them are one take, unless I say something bad or a bad word.
Royally botch it. Yeah.
So I did a video for one of my employees to give her some recognition. She'd been there 13 months. I said, I was thinking she's badass. I'm like, she's a bad ass. And I'm like, I'll just do an ass employee. I'm like, all right, post it.
Yeah.
She's like, I was kind of wondering where you're going with that. And I even was like, I love her. I'm like, in a professional way.
Right.
So you just have to.
Well, because you're thinking, how are people taking it? Yeah, you
Because the people that don't want to be in front of the camera, they'll look at you and say, "Wow, okay, so he's not perfect, right? He's Ryan.
He's real.
He's real.
Yep. No, that's good.
Real Ryan. REEL Ryan.
Oh, we're on to something here. Look, this guy. That's why you're killing it on the Instagram and everything. Yeah, getting people in there, sharing their experiences. Yeah, it's always, and the game's always changing.
Yep.
So you just gotta keep ahead of it, and I am curious to see how much shorter in terms of content can we get. Because it's not like, are we going to have everything comes back? Are we gonna have a cycle where long form content comes back? I don't, it's hard to see that, right?
Well, but long form podcasts are successful.
Yeah, no, people are listening to that.
There's the one of the things I've done is everybody gets reviews, right? Google 5-star reviews, 4-star reviews, or whatever. And but what I started doing is real reviews, real people. So I'll make a little video. And I'll say, hey, would you mind doing a video review? So it's different, right? Because people can identify with, I look like them, or I used, they can identify with the face and the personality versus just the reviews.
Yeah, just
like just stars.
Yeah,
and it's a continuum though. You gotta that algorithm is no BS. Like it works.
Well, yeah, and then you think of, this is going a little deep, but thinking about your life and everything that you're absorbing from the algorithm, who's running what?
They know before us. That's crazy. When I pointed my phone down there, but when I leave here, I'll probably get some type of ad on real estate on my phone because of where I am.
Yep.
And then you'll probably pop up on like social media as we should be friends.
That is true. It's crazy. It's crazy. It knows. And that's the whole thing when people are like, oh, it's listening. This happened. Maybe, or it knew what you were going to think before you thought it.
Have you, what's the Tom Cruise movie? Minority Report.
Minority Report, yes.
Have you gone back and watched that recently?
I've watched, that's one of my top movies I've seen a bunch of times.
Yeah, but if you haven't, and you go watch, like I've told people, go watch that now.
Right. Yeah, because of them predicting. But
you're walking down the street.
Yeah. You see, yeah.
Like I go to Publix and I'm like, wait, what? The lights turned on even?
Right.
I don't want ice cream.
Even the Amazon has that one store to where you can walk in and grab something and walk out and it will charge you. You don't even have to stop at a cashier.
Where's that?
I think out in Seattle, they started to do some prototype. There's cameras all around, and it knows based off where it is on the shelf and what it is, and then it charges your Amazon account when you leave the store. So you can just go in, load up your basket, and walk out the door, and then you'll get a bill.
Dude, that is crazy.
It is crazy. But then, because we're living it and it's happening, you kind of forget that those are crazy things.
A while ago, I just succumbed to that. My phone knows everything. So it's like once you let it go and you're like, all right.
Have you played with ChatGPT?
I did. That's nuts.
Yeah. Well, even to leverage you for social media content and ideas, think with it once. Don't just ask it to do something. Play time to think with it. Help you think ideas, and it's crazy.
If it can help with my English and misspellings, then that'd be great.
There are apps for that.
I know. And then the worst is when you like with one of the bands, if you misspell the name of the band or something, and they're like, oh, by before you misspelled my name. The Reese Brothers. They're from here, right? Yeah. And so we had them on in August, and I kept getting, and I'm thinking, it's I before E after after C, just do it. I finally realized that, but I posted an announcement that they're going to be on, and one of the brothers like, hey, by the way, it's RIES.
Yeah.
But they're probably used to it. But
right.
But yeah, it's the ChatGPT. Yeah, I've said write an ad for a dolphin boat. I was like, man, that is romantic. That is good. That's some good stuff. And if anybody knows me, they're like, that's not Christian.
Right.
That's not Cap.
Someone else wrote that. Well, you could tell it though in a tone of voice of a boat captain that's from you could kind of tell it your personality. That's what
you've been doing between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. You just play with chat.
Well, sometimes, yeah. If I, even to write important emails or something like that. Like it's because it's just efficient. Like I can say,
So you're on it. You're like,
yeah.
you're
Well,
in
Don
it.
probably uses it more than I do
Yeah.
for podcast stuff. But yeah, it's fun to play with because you can give it so many prompts. And it will spit out what you want, and then you can say, well, tweak it, rewrite it this way, rewrite it at a 5th grade level, make it sound more professional or luxury, or do like you can really get into it. You could say, give me a marketing idea to promote dolphin cruises in the off season to locals who like to listen to bands and they want to get free drinks, and like you could get all that, and then give it to you.
wow. All right. All right. I'll start. I'll start doing that.
Yeah. Give it longer. Like the more
Yeah.
specific you are with it, the better.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be Chat GPT coach now
No,
too?
I'm not that. I'm just. There's people that are way crazy about it.
Well, my graphics guy sent me a graphic of a dolphin with a captain's hat on, and I said the dolphin looks kind of creepy. He sends me another one. He said I just told it to make the dolphin smile. So the dolphins, I'm like, it's still a little creepy. The dolphin it made was like, I like the multicolored dolphin.
No,
and-
your logo's cool.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
That-
Did you come up with that, or was that the logo prior?
So I have no, that wasn't the logo prior. So Fred had the red and yellow and blue
Yeah.
that the pier ended with, and he had like a dolphins kissing like a heart, and so the pier had just opened up right before I bought the business, like July when I started riding with him and training, and I told my artist, I was like, come up with like it's got to scream St. Pete, and it's got to be I don't necessarily want a creepy dolphin, so he came up with this, and the pier, that's the pier riding,
Yep.
and then the dolphin cruises is in the script of my parents' business, which was St. Pete Yacht Sales and Service. So it has
It's multi-layered.
St. Pete
Yep.
and the pier
And your
and
family.
then a family heritage to it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got all the right things going.
I'm trying.
No, yeah, you're doing it, man. You're doing it.
And then we have a dolphin painted down at the dock.
We got to get out there.
So
gotta come out.
when the boat was in the boatyard at back at Salt Creek, and this guy's like, "Hey, I got a dolphin with no tail," and he's a little out there. I'm like, "Yeah, Winter," and he's like, "No, I got one." So I go into his boatyard, and he's got a dolphin. It's, the tail's off, fiberglass dolphin, and I said, "I'll give you $50 for it." He goes, $45. I was like, all right.
You negotiated the wrong way.
So I hired a side painter to paint it.
Yeah.
And it's down there, and it does draw a lot of attention. People take pictures with it and all that stuff.
That's
so
cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Setting the experience, setting the vibe.
Yep.
Setting the vibe. Well, this has been, I think this is a great place to wrap this up. If people want to find you, where can they go? Instagram, website, where?
Yeah, my website's pierdolphincruises.com.
Mm-hmm.
And then Instagram is Pier Dolphin Cruises. And then there's another one called Nautical Sounds. And I don't tick a lot. I always say I tick, but I don't talk. So I do have a Pier Dolphin Cruises TikTok. It's kind of a mishmash of the I can only do so much social media.
Yeah.
So Instagram, Facebook, Pier Dolphin Cruises, and Nautical Sounds.
Those are the main ones.
Yeah.
And if they've made it this far, what should they comment below? One word.
If they've made it.
If they're still listening and they're here right now and they're hearing this, so we know who's a true fan.
Yeah.
What should they comment?
Comment. You really got me for one. Comment St. Petians.
St. Petians.
Comment St. Petians.
You are the first one.
Yeah.
You are the first one to use that. I like it. Everyone, Captain Christian, Pier Dolphin Cruises. You guys go check it out. Even if you're local here, have you been out on the water recently? Have you seen the dolphins? Do you know all the history of Snell? Captain Christian's your man. He's the guy. Appreciate you all. Comment St. Petians. Figure out how you spell that. And appreciate all of you. And as always, we'll see you on the next one. Dude,
good, man.
that was awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah. No,
Sure.
No, for sure.
I always get pretty self-conscious.